Hey folks, B59 here. Welcome back to my Transport Fever 2 playthrough as Piasa transport on the Old Man River map. Last time we created our first passenger ferry service, and it runs from St. Louis to Springfield and to Peoria, and it's off to a pretty good start. We have two passenger ferries. Let's go ahead and take off pause. And we can see that we're starting to get, we've got 30 people altogether on the two boats. So 30 of 140 spaces. So they've got to grow some, but I'm confident they're going to do it. As we look here, for instance, we can see that the tram line going to the ferry harbor in St. Louis is pretty darn busy. We currently have 4 vehicles on there, and I think we could add another. So let's go ahead and just add one more. And let's take a look at our other cities as well. Oh yeah, Springfield, look at that. Okay, 56. They definitely need more. So let's get some more vehicles on the Springfield bus line. And I'm going to say we're going to need at least 3 more. Yeah, maybe 4. That's backing up pretty quick. So let's get 4 on. And then even here in Peoria, that's pretty busy. I think we could keep another, we could get another 4 there now. Let's get 1 more here. And you know what? We'll check back in and see how it's going. But for now, we're going to move on to our next challenge, which is to hook up Chicago. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a ferry harbor here and then run a tram line into Chicago. So let's start with the the harbor. And we're going to go with a regular harbor now. You know, I don't think we're ever going to need more than 1 landing here because we're just going to have 1 line coming in. But we may end up wanting to put on a larger dock at some point. So I want to make sure that we're leaving ourselves room and are well positioned to do that and following the line of the river. And there we go. These elevation challenges are elevation challenges, that is for sure. The other thing I think I want to do is I want to take out this section for now because I want the of road because I want it to have a really nice smooth connection up into the road into Chicago. And in fact, I think that should be fine. So let's get a road. I'm just going to go ahead and start with a slightly bigger country road just so that we're well positioned to take on speedier vehicles when they become available. And how did that do with the ridge? Let's just smooth it out a little bit. Yeah, not great, but it's good enough. And now let's go back and see if we can connect up this road. Let's do it though with curves. Okay, that's not too bad at all. So we've got our harbor in, and we have it connected by road. And now we need to get a bus station in Chicago. And I want to put it right here. I know it's going to mean tearing down some buildings. Fortunately, we still have plenty of money left over from the funding that St. Louis provided. I have, before this session started, I turned off sandbox mode, so I don't plan to borrow or steal any more money. But I stand by the decision to do it previously, and even though 20 million was more than I needed for just St. Louis, I think it's okay. You know, my experience working through these Transport Fever games is oftentimes you just struggle with the early game and balancing back and forth between loans and everything, and then all of a sudden you reach the point of unlimited money and it doesn't matter anymore. And I don't necessarily want the unlimited money. I want the ability. I'm going to pause here so it doesn't rebuild these. I want the ability to, make sure that I have to earn a living as a transport company. But through this early stage, I also want us to be able to build the things that we need to build. And I don't feel bad about doing that. So let's see. What do we want here? We want to get... I think we want at least 3 platforms, if not 4. 4 is probably overkill at the beginning. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just make sure we leave enough room for the 4th one. You can ooh, you know what? Those roads are kind of small, aren't they? Huh. I wonder if this needs to be upgraded. Yeah. More building destruction. Let's see, the other road that we're going to use is... I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. So let's go ahead. A little bit of creative destruction, Chicago. But I think that will help out. Okay, back to our bus station. And I am going to turn it off pause again. Oh, wait. Wait till I get this in. Don't be crazy. We want a 30-meter station. We do want to leave room to... Is this acting weird? There we go. I think I want to turn it a little bit. That's better. Okay, and then let's get the other road access in at the other end. Yeah. A little steep, not too bad. And then before we put the upgrade the streets to tram lines, because these are going to be trams, let's get our stops in. And I think at the outset we can be pretty simple, because we already have very strong coverage just from our existing station here. But we are anticipating growth, particularly as we add destinations and get our people traveling. So maybe we'll put out to here for now for one of the lines, and then the other line will be here, and we'll go to here because we have good coverage on the other side from the station. Okay, now let's upgrade these roads to accommodate trams. And then the other way too. And let's see, we also need to come down to the harbor. All right, that went all the way down. And then let's get our lines in. One from the central station to Lakeshore Drive. And that one will be red. Call it tram, Chicago 1. And another line from Central Station to way over here. And we'll paint it green. And we'll call it tram Chicago 2. And then finally our tram line out to the boat harbor. And that will go from here to here. Oops. Oh, you know what? I didn't put a bus stop down here. Let's get a bus stop in. There we go. And then back to our line manager. That station here. And we'll call that the Tram Chicago Ferry. Okay, so let's also rename these stops. This one is the Chicago Harbor. And this one we're going to call Chicago Central because it is central. And the others we're not going to worry about. Next we need a tram depot. Oh, that's expensive, but I guess they all are. Okay. And I think I want 3 each on these, and probably 6 here. So that means let's get 12 vehicles. And we'll get 3 of them on Chicago 1. Oh, we're auto-saving. Yeah. Yeah, after we finish with this setting up Chicago, we have some things to fix on some of the other lines I noticed as well. Okay, so let me just make sure these got set up properly. That looks good. That looks good. And that looks good. All right, so we should start to see some activity. Now we need to update our line, our ferry boat line. And, you know, there's 2 ways we could do it. We could either add a separate line from Peoria to Chicago, or just extend our existing line. And I think, at least for now, I'm going to try to extend our existing line. Look at that. It's, oh my gosh, more than 63 people. We're going to have to fix that. We'll do that as soon as we extend our line. So let's take this line and manage it. And we're going to go to Peoria. And we're going to, from Peoria, go up to Chicago. That's Chicago Central. Well, we're going to have to change that name. And then back to Peoria again. And then we are good. And we have 1 boat coming up now. So it will probably just continue on after stopping in Peoria and go to Chicago. So that'll be our first Chicago run. Do we have any? We have 31 people wanting to go to Chicago. Can that be true? That's kind of nuts. How can that happen so quickly? Oh well, not going to fight it, but I am going to buy 2 more ferry boats. And we're going to get it on the passenger ferry. And we'll let that go for a while and see how it works out. But in the meantime, we do have to get even more buses on here. Well, now it's down to 58. It has a rate of 56. 59 people now. Has a rate of 55. Okay. And a frequency of 53 seconds. That's a pretty, good frequency, but it's not enough. So I think we're going to add 2 more vehicles and see if we can at least get things under control. Hopefully those came out of here. Oh yeah, good. Okay. All right. So in between episodes, I was taking a peek around, and there are some things that we have to fix. One of them is here in Memphis. And we've got a big pile up here. It's keeping it's catching the food trucks in gridlock. And it is it's also keeping the tool delivery from occurring, because while we have a ton of tools, the trucks aren't getting to it because they're caught up in this gridlock. So both the tool delivery and the food trucks are getting killed by this. And the thing is, what's holding them up is this line waiting for logs to show up. But I don't even think that line is necessary. I'm not quite sure why it was there in the first place. I mean, if we look at the catchment area here, it looks like we can supply it right off the boat. And in fact, if you look at these lumber trucks and we look at our finances, we can see that we're not really shipping that much. So I'm thinking that what I want to maybe do here is I'm just going to I'm going to leave one truck on the line, and we'll see if it actually gets any business. Because I don't want to kill off the line altogether in case it ends up meaning we lose cargo. So we're going to go into manage vehicles, and we're going to kill all but one. Well, we're not going to kill it. We're going to sell them, and we'll get some money back, which is a good thing. Because we're down to $4.5 million. We need some money. We need some bucks. And then the other thing that we're going to do is actually that's it for now. That's all we're going to do for now. So now our delivery truck has gotten through. Oh wait, do we still have food trucks held up here? We do. And that's our last remaining plank truck. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of it. If we need it back, I think there's a way we can set it up that will be more beneficial. And actually, what we really need to do, we could keep that, but we can move the food trucks to the other terminal for drop off, and that way they're not stuck behind. That way they're not stuck behind the they'll probably change the way they travel too. Yeah. So let's just watch them to make sure that they get through okay, but I think we still have this one and this one. I wonder if I can turn this one around. Oh. So you know what? Maybe we are going to kill this lumber truck. Okay, all of the trucks are freed up now. And we'll see how that works out. And hopefully then it'll catch up with this backlog that was developing over here. Yeah, that's not great. I think it was all because my trucks were getting blocked up. Not brilliant, not brilliant. But hopefully it'll get fixed. You know what? We could watch this come in. Full load. We have 12 stored. I'm going to speed this up. Let's let this log barge come in. Come on down. All right, so the tools factory has 0 stored. Yeah, it did just fine. So we don't need that line at all. And what that probably means we can do is also put our food trucks back on Terminal 2. And then completely delete this lumber trucks line. And we might as well get rid of this station or this bus stop or drop off because it's just costing us money too. Now then, are we making a dent here on getting these delivered? Ooh, I don't want to delete. Let's see. So this line is only delivering 28 and Memphis needs 66. So we need to fix that line. We're going to have to add a bunch of vehicles to it. We need to add at least 4. And that will get the rate of this line up to 65, which is not quite enough. So let's add one more vehicle. And that'll be 8 delivery vehicles here. And you know, when those start coming in, it's going to make a big difference in Memphis. And likewise, this food is going to do a lot more good in Cape Girardeau than it is sitting around in Memphis. All right, so Memphis is fixed. I think we also have some work to do in Jefferson City. 47 people waiting. That's being pretty well managed. But in Jefferson City, we have a couple of problems. One is, this is our local delivery of food and bricks, and it's completely overwhelmed. We need to add some more cargo loads here. The other thing we need to do is we need to look at this food brick trucks. So it only has a rate of 38. We're trying to get 50 food to Jeff City, and we're trying to get 61 bricks to Columbia. So we need to get these lines up to a rate that's more in the high 60s. So that means we need to almost double this. When we look at that, we have 7 vehicles today. We are just going to go ahead and double it. That's a lot of vehicles, but hopefully that will right size it. The other thing I want to do here is that currently Columbia wants 51 food and Jeff City wants 51 food. That's 102 food. But with just one farm supplying the Columbia food processing plant, we can only get up to 100 food production because it's a 2-to-1 ratio. And this can only supply 200. So we're sending all of this grain to the processing facility. We're processing all of it, but we're not going to get enough food to actually accommodate the growth that we're going to see in Jefferson City and Columbia. We really can't even meet the needs today. But we do have this farm nearby, and so we're going to connect it up to the food processing facility as well. What I want to avoid is anything that's going to impact this drop off, because it's pretty busy as it is in this stretch of road. So I'm gonna drop a new road in from here. Let's make it curved. I think it could be prettier. You must just like to spend money, huh? Well, that's cheaper even. Okay. And then we need a couple of, well, we need a cargo station. And it only needs one. I think I like it on the other side better. Okay. Put that there, and then we'll put the bus drop off. Yeah, right about here. And this will be Kansas City Farm 2. Or actually, it's Kansas City Farm. It's not a Columbia Farm, so we'll just call it Kansas City Farm. And this will be the Columbia Food Processing Drop-Off 2. And we will create our new line. And make it grain colored. Oh good, it's not trying to go around. Normally I would like it to go around, but not this time. And these will be grain trucks. Columbia 2. And let's go ahead and set it up to stay until full. Load only grain and unload it all when we get to the drop off. Okay. Now then, last step is to add a bunch of vehicles. And over here we've got how many vehicles? 15. So, you know, that's a similar length of line. It might even be a little bit longer. So we're going to go 15 here as well. We're going to put all of these on the Grain Trucks Columbia 2 line. Okay. So, so that should speed things along. Let's go back to our St. Louis Chicago ferry and take a look at it. So again, I think we've got plenty of tram coverage, maybe even a little bit much, but hey, we're counting on growth. And oh gosh, yeah, we have 73 people waiting at the ferry. But we do have this one coming in. Let's see where these St. Louisans what their destinations are. Okay, 44 shopping and 43 working in Chicago. That is very good. And Peoria, 44 and 40. Springfield is huge, 78 and 67. And you know, we're actually starting to get some internal St. Louis line usage as well. Kind of had hoped it would be more than that, but we'll see what happens over time. When we head up here to Springfield, we can see that we are moving stuff out of here, but it is still clogging up here. And you know, this is one of those where I really wonder if I want to make two separate lines. One just running from here to here, and then the other one, the internal city line, because we're not going to get the right balance otherwise. And yeah, you know what? That's what we're going to do. So we're going to create a new line between here and here. Make it red. We will call it tram, or bus rather, because these are buses. Springfield Inner City, or Springfield 1 rather. And we're gonna get 4 vehicles on this line, on this new line. bus Springfield 1. And then we're going to go back into the line manager for the original bus Springfield line. And we're going to go we're going to take out these last two. And we're just going to go Meadow to 12th Street. And Meadow is actually the Ferry. Rename that too, but we'll change this name now to bus Springfield Ferry. Down here, we will change the name of this stop to Springfield Harbor. And we'll see how that does in terms of being able to maintain this properly and then getting enough buses here to sort this out. In Peoria itself, that looks fine. Actually, let's take a look at the numbers in Springfield too. This is a town that's using a lot of ferry service. Maybe because it's in the middle, and so it has good reach and short times to all of the different places. So Chicago wants to match basically what St. Louis was doing, 44 and 41. Scroll down to Peoria, 42 and 41. Springfield itself is getting some internal use, but St. Louis 76 and 72. Yeah, that's heavy duty. And our ferries, we're heading to Springfield now with 40 people. And we have only 4 that want to go on to St. Louis at the moment. But we do have a backlog in town, so hopefully that'll pick up. 70 of 70 there, and 32 of 70 there. So we'll see how it goes. And then let's also take a quick peek at Chicago just to make sure it is balanced. And, you know, I know it's in the white, but I think I'm going to get one more tram for now on this line, and I have a feeling we're going to need more than that eventually. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking about, and this is probably a little bit more long-term, but it also is something, whereas I don't think the river transport is going to survive the age of train, I do think that lake transport could, and there are some interesting opportunities here. So Milwaukee wants tools, and it has a tool factory, but it doesn't have any planks. Traverse City has forests and a sawmill, so we can ship planks from here to here, and they can make the tools in for themselves. And Madison has a quarry and a brick plant, and we can truck those. Maybe a small train line. I don't know. I kind of have sworn off trains until we've done our river transport. So we'll see. It's short enough we can still do trucks, and it'll be okay. But anyway, we bring the bricks over here, and then we come down with planks. We go back with bricks, and there are some other places that need it as well. The bricks here are actually closer to Traverse City than Milwaukee, but they just don't afford us the same revenue opportunities. So we'll probably look at that, and we'll see what other ones we can come up with as well. Because Chicago was going to use planks. They use planks. Yeah, there's some needs around here. Grand Rapids could use planks. So we have lots of needs for planks. We also have some bricks here. Lots of things to do and think about. Next time, though, what we are going to focus on is expanding our river network. Probably going down to Cape Girardeau and Memphis. Maybe heading over here to Jefferson City and Columbia. Maybe up the Mississippi to Davenport and Dubuque and La Crosse. Maybe even up, I don't know. I don't think we can get into Des Moines. It's not navigable. But we could get all the way up to Minneapolis, St. Paul. So that's what we're going to do next time. But to finish off this episode, what I would like to do is 2 things in Alton. We're gonna do our bluffs. So Alton along the river has beautiful limestone bluffs with a river road that runs along them, and it's a lovely drive, particularly in the fall when the leaves are changing, but really all year round. So I would like to do a little painting and asset work to fix that up. Well, what I've learned that we have to do is get rid of all the trees along here. Otherwise, the painting won't work correctly. So I'm just going to take them out all along this stretch. And if we have to take it back further, we can, but I'm going to try here for now. Okay, and then we're going to open up the paint tool and go to the scree, and that is way too big. And I'm going to dial back the strength a little bit because I want it to be a little splotchy. And I do want to paint the steep sides. Yeah. We'll come all the way down here because the bluffs actually go right up to the border of the city. And the Piasa bird painting, and there is a Piasa bird painting up today. It's a reproduction of the old one. I don't think it's exactly a perfect reproduction, but it's pretty good, and it's actually right in this area. We may look at a picture of it at some point. Let me finish painting the scree in through here. And you know, it doesn't do a bad job of approximating these limestone cliffs. And then we're going to take this grass gravel, which I found was a pretty good secondary layer to add a little bit of color and interest into it. And we're not going to go overboard here. We're just trying to recreate the sense of the bluffs outside Alton, where I used to hang out with my friends when I was a kid. Alright, so the other thing we want to do is we also want to take these trees out, because this is where we're going to put Piasa Transport's headquarters, with a lovely view out over the river, and I don't want the view to be blocked by those trees. So here we are, and we're making some money. We are making some money. We're making some money. And we're gonna build out our headquarters now. So let's drop that. And we're gonna need to square this up. These headquarters buildings don't really attach to roadways the same way stations do. But we can get it right up to the edge. And there we are. Lovely Piasa Transport. Not bad. So before we go, the last thing is let's just take a quick look at our lines. And our barges are making money. These are the ones in between Cape Girardeau and Memphis that are taking planks and bread back and forth. Our log trucks continue to make money. Our passenger ferries making money. Yes, indeed. Well, look, it just jumped up. And our stone barge is making money too. Everything's doing pretty well. Everything's doing pretty well. We have 2 of the trams in St. Louis that aren't making money, and I'm kind of okay with that because I want them there to bring passengers in and to the central station to go down to the ferry. And I think they'll also be helpful as the city grows. And with the numbers we saw in destinations here, we've got a plus 40% already, and that means we've already grown. We're at a 60% growth rate because we also have quite a bit of internal. So we're up to 30% in line usage. Wait a second. No, I'm sorry. That's just the growth from private transport usage. Okay, so we're still needing to get more people using the public transport in St. Louis, which still is just down there around 3% at the moment. Okay, folks. Well, thank you very much for joining me for episode 5, and I hope to see you again next time for episode 6, where we will continue to build out our river transport lines. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.